In today's video, I'll be playing a full grand challenge going all the way from 0 to 12 wins using the best Three Musketeers deck in the game right now. So let's get started here. It has been a while since I've done a grand challenge using Three Musketeers because Three Musketeers recently hasn't been amazing in the meta, but this specific variant, there's someone in the top 200 using it and having a lot of success. And in the deck, as you probably saw, it has the Evolved Knight in it. Even if you don't have the Evolved Knight unlocked or leveled up, you can still play it, of course, inside of challenges. And also, the Evolved Knight is actually not getting nerfed in the next balance change too, so this deck is likely going to be very good for at least another couple decks if you are looking for a Three Musketeer deck to use. So we're against Logbait here, game one. As you can see, we forced a rocket out of him, which is very, very nice because he didn't have his Princess and Cycle for the minion horde. So Logbait is usually going to be a pretty good matchup for Three Musketeers, especially if they're running Logbait Inferno, because the Inferno is just so bad against the spammy cards like the Goblin Gang, for example, the Minion Horde, and he just wasted the log on the Goblin Gang, so we can just pressure here, go for a Goblin Gang behind the Knight, and it's probably going to be a little annoying for him to deal with. As you can see, he goes in for his Knight, and he's going to go for the Evo Skellies. I don't think I need to play anything on those. Just in case, I'll have my Minion Horde ready, but yeah, the tower will be able to wipe them out with ease, as I was expecting. So I'd say at this point, let's just go for Three Musketeers and see what he wants to do. If he goes for a rocket on top of the two Musketeers on the right, in my opinion, it's a pretty massive mistake, because then we can just go for Minion Horde and Miner and really pressure him, and he won't be able to do anything. And as you can see, he was not playing anything for a while because we were just up so much elixir. And yeah, this is going to be some nice chip damage on the left lane here. And even though we didn't get like a ton of damage, like get his tower or anything crazy like that, look at this massive elixir lead I have. I literally just played another pump. You know, we have 2 pumps down right now in single elixir, which is just, I mean, that doesn't mean it's GG, but that's, makes things really difficult for your opponent to come back from when they're in that much of an elixir deficit. So Battle Ram coming in here, we'll see if he's able to get anything down for it. No, he doesn't. He gets Skeletons down, but it's already too little too late. The damage has been done. We'll just go through Musketeers here and set up some more pressure at this point. Just keep the spam on because, we're taking advantage of our elixir advantage. We'll just go for a Miner here, and then we'll go for the Evo Knight on the right lane, even though I'm getting it behind the Musketeer. It honestly doesn't really matter at this point. I'm not going to lie, at this point in the match, I kind of have already... I don't want to say, like, I'm... of course I'm still trying, but I know, it doesn't even really matter at this point what I place because of how much elixir we have, and it really goes to show because we just 3-crowned him. So that's a very nice and easy game 1 over here. Still 11 more matches to go, so let's get right into the second game here, and we are against Momo Sad. So we got Battle Ram in our starting hand, Minion Horde, Miner, and the Three Musketeers. So he's going to go for his cannon card. I'm actually going to go Three Musketeers first play. Normally, I wouldn't ever go Three Musketeers first play, assuming they haven't played anything. But if they're going to do something like play a cannon card first play, it's generally pretty safe to do that because they just spent 5 elixir. So even though you're spending a 9 elixir card, the 9 elixir card is going to end up getting value against, in this case, the 5 elixir cannon card that he played. So it's actually not a bad trade at all, as you just saw, and he ended up having to go for a P.E.K.K.A. to take out the Musketeers, and he might not have anything for the Minion Horde, judging by the crying face, and no, unfortunately, he does have a zap, so I guess he ended up fooling me there a little bit, which is okay, a little unfortunate, but it's all good. So we do have Pump as our last card, which is a little bit unfortunate because ideally you do want to get that down as early as possible to, get the elixir flowing and all that good stuff. And yeah, he just decided to go for an Executioner. I think at this point I'll just go Elixir Collector in the corner. I don't really want to play it in the middle because he might go all in on the right and end up... If he ends up counter-pushing with the X and just going all in, it might have caused some trouble. So as you can see, I played my Miner off to the side a little bit because I didn't want the Executioner to line up with the tower. That would have been really bad. In fact, I was actually worried I misplayed the Miner and I needed to play it one more tile to the right, but it ended up being all good, so no worries there. And the Battle Ram is going to connect. Even with him zapping, it's still going to get the connection. Of course, it doesn't get that additional charge damage, but either way, it literally doesn't matter because now the tower is pretty much in critical condition, and it's pretty much, I would say, like 100% GG at this point. I don't really see how he's going to come back, especially with the deck he's using. It's a very strange deck, actually. I mean, Executioner... I don't even know. Like, he's got Rocket, P.E.K.K.A. It's kind of all over the place. Like, it doesn't really have any synergy, and this is why, you know, always typically when you see me in every video, whatever deck I'm using always has some sort of synergy, so that's very important. You don't want to just be running some deck that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, you can if you really want to, but you're probably gonna lose most of your games if we're being honest here. So P.E.K.K.A.'s coming in. We do have the 2 Musketeers helping out, and he's probably gonna go for his, I was gonna say his Executioner, but he's gonna go for the Cannon cart first. Maybe he'll go for the Executioner after. I guess we'll see. So he's gonna go for his Zap. Let's see. We'll go for a Minion Horde, and then we'll just go Knight, and yeah, that's gonna be pretty much easy peasy over here. Nothing too difficult, but you know, it's the second match of a challenge, so if you are gonna get decks like this, it's typically going to be early on that you're going to be seeing these and not later in the challenge, you know, especially when you're at the halfway point. By that point, you're never going to run into something like that, so take the, you know, easy wins while you can, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So here we go. As you can see, he does have the Princess and the Goblin Barrel on his banner, so I wonder if that's kind of a little bit of a hint maybe that he is going to be running log bait, because I notice a lot of people do like to put the cards they run on their banner. I don't even know why they do that, because I think that kind of gives away what they're using. But anyway, in this case, he kind of fooled me, because yeah, he's not even using that. So much for that. It looks like he might be running Graveyard, because yeah, I think it's Graveyard now. I think it's Graveyard, guys. I am pretty safe to say. So he just went for the Poison, because his Poison's out of cycle. That's, you know, good indicator that it's a good time to play the Elixir Collector right now, because he's literally going to have no way to take it out. And then at that point, I'm kind of already planning ahead a little bit. We're likely going to be able to play our 3 Musketeers shortly after, because he's still going to be nowhere near back to his Poison unless he just cycles a bunch of cheap cards right now. But yeah, he's going to go for his Little Prince, so we can probably just go for our 3 Musketeers at this point, because he still needs to play 2 more cards to get back to the Poison, and by the time he is back to it, he probably won't even be able to afford it right away anyways. So he goes in for his Guardian right here, and he goes in for the Tornado. He's going to get a little bit of damage. It's not going to be anything too crazy, though, and kind of like the last game where I had that massive Elixir lead, it's kind of going to be a similar situation over here, where I just have a lot of Elixir compared to him, because as you can see, we have the Pump down still. I just sent in a Miner just to hopefully force some Elixir out of him, and we're just going to get another Elixir Collector down. It should be safe to do at this point. If he decides to go for a Graveyard, I can probably just go for a... Yeah, so there we go. He is going to go for the Graveyard. I'm just going to do this and then go for a Goblin Gang, and even though he went for the Poison, we should be completely fine over here. Like, he'll deal some chip damage to the tower, but because he dealt more damage in the opposite lane, it's actually completely fine that that happened. If anything, it's kind of a good thing. You know, I always say when they deal split lane damage and it's split up, you know, the lane that they're going in, the one they were before, and they don't get as much damage the other lane, it's quite good for you to use your tower hit points as a kind of like as a resource, if that makes sense. And as you can see, we are going to take the left tower here and pretty much close out the game already. So I would say this is probably not that difficult of a matchup. Generally, 3 Musketeers is known for doing fairly well against Graveyard. Of course, it depends on the 3 Musketeer variant, but in this case, because we have the Minion Horde and the Goblin Gang, we have a lot of good tools, obviously, for dealing with the Graveyard, and the 3 Musketeers are just in general quite a nuisance as well, because the Poison isn't going to take them out, you know, instantly like the Fireball or something like a Delivery would, which is actually why 3 Musketeers are one of the only decks where the Poison is actually worse against it than something like a Fireball would be. Also, considering I have Minion Horde as well, which of course the Fireball is going to be better against than the Poison, so just something to keep in mind. That's kind of what makes 3 Musketeers pretty unique. So I'd say we probably could just go for arrows here, even though I could have just ignored the archers because they were split anyway. I mean, I might as well use my arrows on something that are going to get value. And then we'll just go in for an Elixir Collector here, and from there, see what he wants to do. So he does have a Mega Knight. So, ooh, he's got an Earthquake. Well, that's pretty bad news, not going to lie. I will say it's probably good that we can go for 3 Musketeers now, because at this point, you know, if he's got an Earthquake, chances are he doesn't have anything for the Three Musketeers. So they're just going to have a massive counter push now because, you know, clearly if someone has an Earthquake, they're not going to have a Fireball or something like that in their deck. So it's safe to play them all in the same lane, which is a play you could make when you're playing against something like Hog EQ, if assuming they're running Hog EQ without the delivery, of course, because if they have the delivery, then that's, you know, you don't want to have them all in the same lane. So it really just kind of depends on their spells. Now, the problem, though, with him having the Earthquake means the pump is just going to literally get no value. So that's something I have to, you know, basically accept and just kind of play my match without the pump the whole time, pretty much, which sometimes you do have to do, and that doesn't even mean you can't win, it just makes things a little trickier, I guess you could say. And this is a really big counter push, and he also used the ability before I sent in the miner, so this is pretty much going to be GG now. And yeah, there you go. So definitely not a good ram router on his end. I kind of capitalized off of that perfectly. You know, it didn't really make any sense for him to go in for the ram router randomly without the Mega Knight supporting it, or he wasn't up elixir or anything like that. So probably just he didn't keep track of cycle, which again is understandable because we are very early on in the Grand Challenge, so you can't expect people to be playing perfectly. So we'll take these wins while we're still able to. So we just sent in a miner here on the King Tower. I guess we could just go for a Battle Ram. It doesn't, at this point, really matter, I guess, all too much what we do. It's pretty much over anyway. We could even, if we want, just for fun, go for one of the old-fashioned defensive elixir collectors to be ready for that Ram Rider coming in. And there we go. That's kind of a satisfying way to end the match, I'd say. Now, I will say the defensive elixir collector is low-key, and I'm not even joking, a very good play against E-Giant. And oftentimes when I'm running E-Giant, Three Musketeer players will like to go for that defensive elixir collector because it hardly deals any damage to the collector. It just stays on the board for so long, distracting it, because the E-Giant doesn't reflect anything that the elixir collector does because it doesn't shoot, obviously. So it ends up being a really solid counter to it, especially when you're in a pickle and say you don't have your Three Musketeers in cycle or something like that. Anyway, this guy's got a Knight and an Ice Spirit, so he might be running Logbait, potentially. Even though Logbait isn't even that good in the meta, I notice a lot of people still like to play it because it's a fan-favorite deck. Unfortunately, I kind of have to go for a Minion Horde there. That, now that I think about it, probably wasn't the best pump, and I kind of regret doing it. It's okay, but if I were to do things over again, I probably wouldn't have done that for sure, but it's not the end of the world. I'm just going to go miner here. I don't know if he's going to use the ability. He decided not to, so let's just go for a Goblin Gang here. And this is probably going to be a somewhat tricky matchup, I would say. I mean, of course, you know, as always, we can win, but this is not going to be easy, that's for sure. First things first, I actually kind of want to test out and see what his, well, I assume he has a poison, but I just kind of want to confirm it, I guess. So if he's smart, he'll probably use the poison on the, okay, no, he pre-placed a bomb tower. I don't think that was, yeah, so this guy definitely, in my opinion, already making some mistakes, which is good for me. You know, I'm certainly not going to complain, because what he should have done is just poison the two Musketeers, but clearly that is not what he did. Anyhow, he is going to get some, like, that was a good miner. You know, I will say that was a good miner. It probably, again, in this type of matchup, you're really not going to be able to get much value out of the pump. You more so have to win this game by using the Three Musketeers really well. Anyway, let's just go for a Knight here. And I don't know if he's going to use the Little Prince ability. If he does, then that actually, I was going to say he's going to go to complete waste, but I will have to go for a defensive miner there, so never mind about that. Let's just go for a pump and see what he wants to do. I'm going to be ready to get a Goblin Gang down this time around. There we go. So that was solid. We forced the poison out of him, so now at this point, we... Actually, I kind of want to go for a Minion Horde on this Evo Knight, and then probably go for a Battle Ram, and then from there, kind of see what he wants to do. I really want to get rid of this little prince if possible. There we go. So Minion Horde is getting a lot of value here. He's trying to distract with the goblins. That was really solid. Let's just go for a knight. And I guess we'll pump up again. This might be our last pump of the game. In some matchups, you really don't want to be playing your Elixir Collector all too much. And then others, you're going to be spamming it constantly. It really just depends on what you're up against. If you're against a heavier deck, you're going to be using it a lot more often. That's kind of a good general rule of thumb, I guess you could say. So we're going to go for a knight here. I want to get arrows down on this. That's really solid. So this is going pretty okay, I would say. We're in a... Okay, that was a really... Well, I wouldn't say that was a bad log, but now it's just a really good opportunity for me to take advantage of him using the log. So there we go. That's exactly how you want to do it. Try to overwhelm the minor poison player. He definitely made some mistakes early on, which helped us out. But, you know, ultimately that whole match we were kind of in control. Pressured him very well. I mean, and I wouldn't even say I played that perfectly. There were probably 1 or 2 pumps I did early on that were not a good time to do so. But either way, didn't matter. All right, there we go. Found the game. I was about to say, I'll see you guys when I find it. But here we go. So we're against Noisy here. And we got the Minion Horde, the Miner, 3 Musketeers. So we could actually just chill for a second or two and see if this guy wants to do anything. Otherwise, we'll just start off with a Miner and go from there. So he's going to go for his Little Prince. I guess we'll go for a Knight. And Little Prince could literally be anything. So that gives me very little information about what he's actually using. And I actually think I kind of need to go for arrows here just because I need to just cycle something. Okay, well that was a very good Minion Horde. It kind of killed everything and his ability went to complete waste. So it's a really good, just very valuable Horde. Can't complain. I'll probably pump up here. He's going to go for the Ghost. I think I'm going to Collector anyway. And I'm just going to go for a Miner on that. We'll see what his spell is. Okay, so he's going to go Ram Rider instead. This could be really bad depending on what he does here. But if he doesn't do anything, then this is actually very good. Even though, you know, he got a lot of damage, you guys might be thinking, well, isn't that good for him? I mean, it looks good on paper, but this Elixir advantage I'm about to have is going to be really obnoxious for him to deal with. Let's put it that way. I'm just going Minion Horde here because I really want to see... There we go. So he's got a poison. That's kind of the reason I did that, because I was curious, does this guy have a poison, a fireball, or even a lightning? And that kind of answers that question. So that's kind of what I wanted to test out. And once again, he is going to go for the Ram Rider, which, again, it looks like a good play, but I'm telling you guys, it's definitely quite a big mistake in my opinion, because now I just think that he's going to have some problems here. He's going to have to poison this, but now he just played the Little Prince. We're actually just going to go for a Battle Ram here. Barreled, but look at the barbs on the tower. And there we go. That's what I was saying. So, just like that, we took the lead. And we can just go for 3 Musketeers now, because if he decides to poison the right, then we'll take advantage of that and use our Minion Horde. So it's actually completely fine by me. I'm going to go for a Miner here on defense. And let's kind of just see what he chooses to do here. I'm pretty curious. So yeah, he poisons... let's see. Can we take out the... No, we cannot take that out. That is a bit unfortunate, to say the least. Does he let that go down? Yeah, he does. That's really good. Alright, let's see. I'm just going to go for a Miner on defense. And then we're going to go 3 Musketeers here. These are going to be very valuable 3M, because as you could tell, he couldn't afford anything. He literally couldn't afford anything after playing the Mega Knight. So he goes in for a late poison, but by the time, you know, he gets the Mega Knight down, now he's really low on Elixir. Battle Ram connects, and that's going to be GG. So that was a really nice win over there. I'm actually quite happy with how I played that. I feel like I went for Elixir Collectors at the perfect time for the most part, and it ended up baiting out. It kind of ended up baiting him, like it pressured him into going in when I knew I was able to defend, and then I'd be able to get a counter push and a elixir advantage after that. Sorry if I've been, I don't know, my commentary hasn't been the greatest this video. I know like, I've said probably a few more times than I normally do, and anyway, just feeling a little weird tonight, so that's probably, the main reason why. But anyway, let's just go for a battle ram at the bridge and see what this guy's got over here. So he does have a lumberjack and a little prince. Yeah, I don't really... Okay, so he's got a balloon. So I don't know if this is just lumberloon freeze, potentially. I mean, he does have a snowball. I'm going to ignore that little prince if he doesn't... Okay, yeah, perfect. I'm actually going to probably... Actually... Yeah, I'm going to ignore those skeleton dragons. I hope I don't end up regretting that, but I think this is really important for me to do to get an elixir advantage. So as you can see, if you're picking up on anything with this deck, really notice that it's sometimes completely fine to get an elixir advantage for the greater good, even if it means sacrificing some damage. Anyhow, let's try to get 3 Musketeers down here. He's not going to take the tower, but it will be quite close, and I'm hoping we are able to get a nice counter push at least. And unfortunately, I couldn't get the battle ram in front, so that's not really good at all, not what I wanted. But let's go for a minion horde here, and then get a battle ram in front, and maybe he's not going to have enough elixir to deal with this. I guess let's see what happens. So he did go for a... I'm actually curious what happens here, because he did just go for his bar barrel, so he might not have anything good in cycle for... No, he did just get back to the... This game is not going too well, I have to say. Let's go lumberjack, let's see here. I'm gonna go for a miner, maybe, and then let's go for a battle ram over here and see what he wants to do. Okay, so he's gonna go for the Evo barbs, and he snowballed. Ooh, that's interesting that he had to use his snowball there. That's really solid for me. We get a musketeer shot. Alright, so let's just go for a minion horde here. Yeah, nice. Okay, we are able to take out the tower. Whew, that, almost gave me a heart attack with, how close that was, and yeah, I thought that was going to be our first loss, but, well, it could still be, because the game's not over yet, but I'll tell you, it's looking a lot better than it was just a few seconds ago, and I also think he just got over-aggressive. Sometimes that happens, like, when you come back and take a lead, the other person gets extremely aggressive and desperate for damage, and I think, unfortunately for him, that was definitely the wrong time to do that, and as you can see, that's the counter push we need to win the game, and we are going to win, which I'm glad we did, because I actually think this was a very easy matchup for me. So if I lost and this ended up being the first loss I got, I would have been pretty disappointed, but either way, that's going to put us at 7-0, and just like that, we're getting closer and closer to closing out the challenge. So here we go in our next one here. So we do have Knight in our starting hand. I feel like having Knight in the, starting rotation is very good, because, you get to the evolve Knight a lot quicker, which is nice. He's got Knight as well, and he's going to go for the little prince. I guess I'm just going to go 3 Musketeers. It's a little bit wild, I know, but I think that it's not going to cost us the game or anything, because he just spent 6 elixir, and now we got a counter push coming in. Yeah, we're completely fine. That ended up being a very good play, actually, because he just spent 6 elixir defending the Musketeers that already got value, so that worked out perfectly. He's got a snowball, little prince knight. I really don't know what this is, actually. I'm a little confused. He does have the Ram Rider, so if he doesn't have a fireball or something, I feel like this is the minion horde is just going to get free reign on top of that, so that's perfect for me. And he's going to go Little Prince. He'll probably need to play something else. Yeah, he goes in for the Knight, so okay, nothing too surprising there, I guess. We could probably just pump up, and then if he uses the ability, I should be able to defend it okay, because we're gonna have enough to play a Goblin Gang, so we'll be fine here. If he decided to snowball, so I'll just defensive minor, and yeah, we're chilling. So he went all in trying to pressure the pump, and that ended up completely kind of failing for him because he ended up getting pretty much no damage, and now I have the pump just getting me a ton of elixir, and now we're going to be able to probably overwhelm him. So I'm actually going to... Okay, so he does go for his Ram Rider. Depending on what he does here, I'm going to go 3 Musketeers, potentially. If he doesn't do anything, I'm just going to pump up again. So, yeah, he just really screwed up over there. Even though the Ram Rider connected, it literally doesn't even matter that much. I think people really underestimate the importance of getting an elixir advantage with 3 Musketeers, because now at this point, I can't even tell you how he's going to defend this. I couldn't tell you, because I don't think it's even possible. Like, it's just not even gonna happen, because the snowball doesn't even take out the minion horde entirely, and yeah, we have all this pressure coming in, and he actually defended. What the heck? That is... Woo! I'm a bit in shock right now, not gonna lie. How did he defend that? Either way, though, it's alright, I guess. Hopefully. I have to say, I am impressed, though. I am impressed that he defended that. Alright, we're going to go Defensive Collector. It's actually a very good play in this situation, because it's going to... It basically is... Well, I mean... It's pretty much an even trade. Oh, wait, I just realized I should have done... split the opposite way, but it's all good. I guess it doesn't really matter that much, because you would have just lightninged it regardless. I'm just going minor to tank for the minions, and he does go for his own minions, and look at this. Here we go. This is what we needed. Sweet. This is really good. Yep, this is good. I think we just won off of this. Yeah, we won. Nice. There we go. That was good. That was good. I will say he played that quite well, because I think that's a pretty solid matchup for me. Pretty much any deck that has a lightning, you're going to have a very good matchup against. And just like that, we are now 2/3 of the way through the challenge, and I'll see you guys when we find the next one. Alright, so we're against Warstruck here. We're cruising along. At this point, I'm getting more and more confident that we're probably going to be able to win the challenge, especially if we get to 10-0. At that point, it would be very hard for me to throw in that position, especially with all the experience I have playing Grand Challenges. So the unfortunate thing, though, is he just went Sparky first play, and that is a little bit, I'm not going to lie, a little frustrating. And if yeah, we pretty much lost already. It's, sadly, it's pretty much completely over already. Yeah, this matchup is not it. Especially when they're going to go Sparky very first play of the game. That certainly doesn't help us. So, yeah, that's quite unfortunate, to say the least. We're definitely going to have to go for an Elixir Collector here, that's for sure. And he's got arrows for the minion horde, so that's not very good either. I will be pretty dang surprised if I somehow find a way to come back and win this. I don't really see that happening, but, you know, I guess it's not impossible. We're just going to need a little bit of, you know, I don't know if I want to say luck, but... yeah, that, I couldn't afford to let that happen. The fact that that happened pretty much, pretty much limits any chance I had of potentially coming back, as sad as that is to say. I might have just gotten the collector down just in the nick of time, so that way I get the full amount of elixir, but yeah, it's not looking too good. This is just one of those matchups, or matches in general, where you just kind of have to be like, oh well. It was, you know, to be fair, it was quite unfortunate, the, the start I had, so, you know, if I end up losing this, it's not the, end of the world, it's really not. I'll be content with this being the first loss. I was hoping there was maybe a little bit of hope, but it's not looking like it, sadly. Nope. Well, and then we also got that going for us. Well, that's pretty devastating, but alright, well, we'll try to bounce back after that. That was, yeah, I'm honestly surprised I'm able to keep my composure together after that, because that was just really tragic. The fact that, you know, he went basically Sparky first play, and then he happened to have arrows as well, so just kind of everything, and yeah, this guy's got arrows, so that's also not a very good sign, and it's looking like he's probably running Graveyard Freeze. But luckily, we don't take too much damage. That could have been a whole lot worse, but unfortunate to see that he does have the arrows as well as the snowball. So he's going to have a lot of good answers to my... and he did use that, which is pretty unfortunate because I'm going to have to arrow now. Yeah, not the best start at all. I'm surprised to see he has arrows with the bowler, because usually you don't see that combination, but oof, yeah, honestly, this is going to be potentially a tricky one. We'll see, though. I mean, it really depends on what the rest of his cards are, because I do think there's one or two cards he hasn't used, and if he has a poison, I can tell you right now that's going to make things even harder if he literally has arrows and poison. Now, if he has the freeze, like I was thinking, then this probably isn't that bad, because it means the Three Musketeers, at least, are going to be getting loads of value this whole match, so that would be very good for me. So we're going to pressure opposite lane of this bowler here, and if he, yeah, he does use that, so I'm going to go in with the miner and then just go arrows and hopefully clean everything up, and we're going to get a little bit of damage. It's nothing too crazy, but it does give us the lead, and because we have a elixir collector down, of course, we're going to be able to, you know, maintain an elixir advantage even after going all in there. So he is going to go for a giant. I think we're just going to go for the Three Musketeers, and then we have our Evolved Knight ready too, of course, and then I think with him playing the bowler, we're going to for sure want to go for the Battle Ram in the right lane here and kind of see what he wants to do. So that's going to be a pretty valuable arrow for me. I guess I'll take that. And I want to try to... Let me see here. Let's actually just, I think, pump up again. I feel like it's really the best play in this situation, just because... And let's see what he wants to do. I'm trying to see... Okay, he arrowed that. That's perfect, because now I can go for my minion horde. And then we're going to go for a battle ram. We're going to arrow that. And I think he's in a lot of trouble, because the snowball's not going to do enough. And he goes in for the ability. I'm just going to collector again at this point. And yeah, look at this. I mean, we literally have 3 collectors down. So I would actually be pretty astonished if he somehow finds a way to win this. It would actually be pretty ridiculous. I would actually, I don't even know if I'd be upset if he ends up winning this. Well, actually, I don't know if I want to go that far, but truthfully, I would just be a little bit mind blown just with the situation we're in, and this big of an elixir lead. It would be a little hard to believe. But we're going to get 3 Musketeers down here again, and he is going to go for that ability. I will say these Evo archers can sometimes be quite a pain, but as you can see, we now have, you know, just once again, like all this elixir I was talking about, and he just went arrows, and once again we can go for the 3 Musketeers. He's holding on, I have to say, he is holding on, but we now are winning, so I'm maybe just gonna split the minion horde here. I have so much elixir I don't even know what to do with it. It's pretty insane. I don't know if he's gonna use the ability here. And, ooh, wow, so he decided to go, yeah, okay, he's getting overwhelmed. It's definitely over now. I was getting a little worried, but now at this point, as I was anticipating, he's not able to deal with all the pressure, which is kind of inevitable to happen in this type of matchup. He, like I said, he played very well. It was a little bit, it got prolonged a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So that's going to be GG. Pretty nice win over here. I believe that puts us at 9-1 now, but because I do have that one loss, I'm gonna have to be very careful from this point on. If I end up losing another game before 11 wins, I'm gonna probably be a little bit nervous, not gonna lie, because I really hate having 2 losses. Even if I am confident in my ability to play, it's never a good situation to be on your final life. So if you're someone that has never won a grand challenge, you really want to make sure that you are, well, just trying to win. It's, of course, easier said than done, but you really don't want to have your first loss be early on. So he's going to use the ability. I'm just going to go Minion Horde, and I guess we'll see what spell he ends up having. Maybe he does have the delivery. He's actually got... Okay, so we can actually go 3 Musketeers. I know I said you can use the E-Giant on defense, but in this type of situation where he just goes for it at the bridge, it's a pretty good play to just go 3 Musketeers, because you're then going to have a pretty massive counter push. We can even go for a Knight as well, and he's going to go Bowler, but that's not really going to be enough on its own. As you can see, he does have to go for the Tornado and a Knight, and even with that, you know, the Knight pretty much goes down entirely, so we can just go for an Elixir Collector here, and if he lightnings this Elixir Collector, I'm actually going to go for a Battle Ram Minion Horde at the bridge, because he won't be able to afford an E-Giant, and he also doesn't have his Tornado in cycle, so he's pretty much going to be screwed, most likely. I could be wrong, but what I'm going to do is go for a Battle Ram and go for a Minion Horde. He's going to go for his Cannon, and he shouldn't have enough to play the E-Giant as I expected, and just like that we took his whole tower. So that was really good planning by me. I kind of knew right when I dropped my Elixir Collector that that was exactly what I was going to do if he, you know, ended up, well, going for a Lightning. So what we're going to have to try to do here is get him to, well, okay, well, yeah, never mind. Yeah, this is why I was saying, typically whenever you're against a deck that has Lightning and you're running the Elixir Collector, it's almost always going to be a good matchup for you, because stuff like Lightning and Rocket is just really bad against the Pump, because even though the Fireball and the Poison, they also allow the Pump to get 1 Elixir, the difference is it's cheaper, and you're able to punish and stuff after going for it. But a Lightning, you are just completely dry on Elixir after, so it's significantly worse. And like I was saying, this is one of this. I just went for the Defensive Collector to kind of show you guys what I was talking about, how the E-Giant just takes forever to get through it, because it has to keep punching it, and it doesn't reflect on top of the Collector, as I already said. So that's a really good tool you can use to basically ensure that you beat E-Giant every single time, when even if you don't do that, it should already be a very easy matchup. But for some reason, if you're in a very, you know, bad cycle, and you know, you're thinking like, oh, well, I can't Collector on defense. Well, in that type of matchup, you actually can. So anyway, 2 more to go. So here we go. We're against Magana here. We do have our Goblin Gang, which we can start the match off with. It's going to be a fairly safe starting play, and he's going to go for his Bomb Tower very first play. So that could mean he's probably either running Hog or Minor Poison, and now that we see a Lightning, I don't even know what this is. Bomb Tower Lightning. I mean, I would assume it's probably E-Giant, but I guess I can't really say for sure, but my guess would be E-Giant for sure, because lightning bomb tower, I don't know, I mean, what else it could possibly be. He's gonna go for his bowler. I'm actually gonna go minion horde and battle ram in the opposite lane because he just played a bowler, and now he just lost his whole tower pretty much. Yeah, I mean, see, this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, the person running lightning has to be extremely careful when they use their lightning, because that's the exact type of thing that's going to happen. And this is exactly why in this Three Musketeer deck you have the minion horde in it, so you can make plays like that and really punish the other person when they just... Okay, so here we go. We're going to just do the defensive elixir collector like I was talking about. So once again, you're going to see kind of it in action. Now, I actually did misplay it because you can... there's a better place, because you want both towers to be shooting it, but nonetheless, even with the misplayed position, as you can see, it's an incredible counter to the E-Giant when you know, instead of playing your Three Musketeers. And just like that, this is pretty much already game over because he just played his bowler in the back, but the problem is he doesn't have his E-Giant in cycle, so he's not going to be able to do anything with it. I can just go for my minion horde on top of it and pretty much go about my day. So this is just already pretty much a wrap. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a ridiculously easy matchup, but if I were him, well, I guess I'm not trying to sound like too arrogant or anything, but if I was him, it would at least be way closer than this. I mean, it would at least be closer, even though it's a very good matchup for me, don't get me wrong. But once again, I'm going for the defensive collector, and as you can see, it's a better placement because it ends up, well, as you saw, it was getting targeted by both the towers, so definitely take note of that. And yeah, at this point, we just have to defend pretty much just one more push. Hopefully, we are able to do that. I'm just going to go for a collector to distract. Okay, well, I almost jinxed myself. Honestly, I kind of deserved to lose my tower there with how I was talking and saying things like, well, if I was him, it at least would it. So I'm just going to take my win and shut up. So here we go. We're 11-1 now, so I'm once again feeling pretty confident, even though we do have that loss. I don't really see myself losing 2 games in a row. I hope I don't jinx it, but I just don't see it as a very likely thing, especially because I'm, you know, playing pretty well, you know, nothing wrong with saying that. Anyway, I'm going to go for, I know it's E-Giant, so I'm going to go for a defensive elixir collector. Oh. I'm actually dumb because I forgot about the little prince. What am I doing? I am really stupid. He did BM me though, so if I win, I'm probably gonna BM him, but I'm really dumb. I forgot about the little prince. That was so stupid. Now, his NATO is out of cycle. His NATO and archers are out of cycle, so I'm gonna go in here. His cycle's really bad, but he did have the E-Giant. Oh well. This was a fairly deserved loss, I'm not gonna lie. Still hurts a little though. Yeah, oh my god, I don't know what I was thinking with the defensive collector at the beginning, or to be honest, the main reason I did that was because well, I actually didn't know the little prince was in range of shooting it, so that was kind of completely just a miscalculation on my end. And then also on top of that, um, my thinking was, well, I didn't want him to pressure me with an E-Giant at the bridge when I went for my collector because I wouldn't have had the elixir to defend it. But yeah, ultimately I just really screwed up. That was just entirely my fault. The first loss was, obviously not my fault at all, but that was, yeah, just a completely different story. Um, I'm just going to go Battle Ram here at the bridge in the other lane. We both kind of just went for a knight to start things off, and I don't know just yet what he's using or what he's going to do. Um, I guess I'll... Oh, wow. That's a amazing start for me. The NATO didn't take out the minion horde, and now he... Wow. This is an incredible start for me. And this is also, I could be wrong, but I think this is a very good matchup for me as well. Even though he does have the Tornado and the Bowler, I think in general it's a very good matchup because the Tornado doesn't kill the minion horde. And on top of that, I feel like there's no way for him to take out the Elixir Collector, so it's just getting kind of an infinite amount of value. And whatever lane he plays his bowler in, I can probably go for the Goblin Gang in the opposite lane because he doesn't have his Bar Barrel back in cycle just yet. But actually, it might make more sense to go for a Battle Ram. I suppose I could probably do both. Let's see what he wants to do first, though. He's going to go for his NATO, and now I can go for my Minion Horde, and that should be GG 100%. So this is exactly what I was saying. Solid matchup over here, even though that last match really hurt with how badly I played and also the BM on top of it. At least we bounced back basically instantly, and we're even at this rate looking like we might 3-crown him. So at least we, end up closing out the challenge, which is ultimately what matters, even though I feel like my ego and, all that sort of thing took quite a hit from the last game. I guess in the end, we did what's... we did what we came here to do, which is win the challenge. So I'm going to try not to cry about the last loss too much. But there we go. That's going to be GG. Honestly, I respect the sportsmanship on his end. Even saying good game, after getting destroyed like that when we have a super solid matchup. So there we go. As you can see, Three Musketeers pretty solid, even though, I played really bad that one game. We bounced back and still closed out the challenge. Definitely give this Three Musketeer deck a try if you're looking for one to use. Make sure to like, subscribe, and thanks again. Until next time, guys.